What's up, guys? It's me again, Christian Rodriguez, and I got a bit of a banger for you today. So, today I'm going to talk about reinventing yourself, right? So, reinventing yourself goes into different categories, right? There's different things you have to do to reinvent yourself. And one of the points that I wanted to get into is what do you consume? No, that's a serious question. What do you consume, right? Are you consuming reality TV like Love Island, Too Hot to Handle, Mob Wives, what's another one? Housewives of New Jersey or whatever crap, right? Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Are you consuming that, right? Are you watching? Are you spending all your days like watching sports debates, right? Watching every Chicago Cubs home game, right? Every Chicago Cubs game on TV, and they play like 162 games a year. Are you watching political debates constantly? And this is not a political video. I am not political, I'm apolitical, but regardless of who you support, are you spending the entire day watching political debates, right? Trashing on the opposing party? Or are you reading self development books? Are you consuming content on creators who who have what you want, right? Maybe they have the lifestyle that you want, they have the success that you want, maybe they have the physique that you want, maybe they have something or they have some sort of knowledge that you want to get, right? You want to obtain, and it's adding some sort of value to your goals, right? You have to pay attention to that stuff that you're consuming, right? Because I've had it here, right? I said if you consume garbage, you become garbage. If you consume gold, you become gold, right? I made that up on the spot, so be proud of me. No, but seriously, like think about it. If you're consuming stuff like Love Island, right? Or Too Hot to Handle. Like, what do you think that's gonna shape you to be? That's gonna shape you to be like a. I don't want to sound like these red pill guys because I'm not, but it's gonna shape you to sound like kind of become like a beta male, right? You're gonna think of like the drama. You're gonna think about chasing women, right? It's gonna put you in that mindset. It's slowly gonna mold your mind to what you shouldn't become, right? It's not gonna be a masculine version of yourself, right? And then if you spend all your days watching sports, watching debate shows on sports, watching 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 political debates, right? You're just going to be an argumentative person. You're just going to be focusing on crap that doesn't affect your life whatsoever, right? But then how do you think your life's going to change if you're reading books like the Steve Jobs, the biography of Steve Jobs, right? Or you're reading Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. You're reading books like, well, The One Thing by Gary Keller. You're reading books on Ray Dalio. You're reading books on the 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene books. You're reading all these types of books. You're reading Alex Hormozy's books. How do you think that's going to change your life? 100% it's going to change your life. It's going to change the way you think. It's going to make you take the right actions you have to take to get to become a better version of yourself, right? And that's part of the reinvention is programming here. And you got to make sure you're not programming yourself with shit, right? I'll give you an example, right? How do you think I would look if I was eating Twinkies, right? Twinkies, Cheetos, Doritos, pizza all day? How do you think I would look, right? Versus me eating 90% lean ground beef, brown rice, spinach, eggs, right? Probably a big difference, I would say, right? And I know I'm bulking, so I look puffy now, but if I was eating that crap, you guys probably wouldn't even click on this video. It'd be like, what the hell is this guy talking about? So, like, seriously, you got to think about that. And then the next point, right? How much pain are you willing to go through, right? Because part of reinvention, you're going to have to go through some sort of pain, right? Some sort of growing pains, right? You say you want to get good at business. Are you willing to speak with your target customer and face rejection? It's a very uncomfortable position. You go to networking events. You're like, oh damn, I feel awkward. Or you walk into a business and you talk to the decision maker, or you cold call all day. Whatever you do, right? It's very uncomfortable. It's not fun getting rejected. going through oceans of phone calls and not getting not getting answers, or you're getting harsh rejections. It's not fun. But are you willing to go through that? Right? You want to be good, you want to be in good shape, and you want to know combat skills, right? I put them together because they could be used interchangeably if you do combat sports. Are you willing to skip Monday night football, right? Are you willing to skip watching that after work so you can go hit the gym? Or you could do some really physically challenging boxing class, right? There's a choice. You have a choice there, right? And yes, there is a right and there's a wrong choice. There always is. I'm rereading The Millionaire Fastlane, but he says treasonous choice. There's a there's a great choice and there's a treasonous choice. That's really it, right? Say you want to learn another language, right? Like I'm learning French. Say you're willing. Are you willing to face like the awkwardness, right, of learning another language? So think about it. You're speaking to a native speaker. You try speaking their language and they start speaking to you and you don't understand them. How awkward is that? Are you willing to go through that awkwardness, that discomfort? Because I'll tell you right now, it's fucking awkward. Are you willing to sound like a 5-year-old when you're speaking the language? Are you willing to struggle through the vocab and then you feel like your brain hurting because you're like trying to figure out new grammar rules of how to form sentences in a new language that you've never spoken before, right? That's serious though. Like what 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 are you what pain are you willing to go through? Because you kind of have to go through some sort of pain, right? To reinvent yourself, right? Because when you go through this pain, you have to put everything into it. When you're putting everything into it, it's forcing you to have to become a different person, become a different version of yourself, right? That's kind of what happened to me when I started working sales, right? It forces you to become a different person so you could fit that mold, so you could become more durable in that situation, right? And then I have the next one, right? So what are you willing to sacrifice, right? Because Brandon Carter once said this, right? And I watch his channel. I love his content. I find it very useful. He's a very smart guy. He's also hilarious, but he's a very smart guy. And I do love like his stuff, but like there's a quote that he said that really resonated with me. And he says, if you don't sacrifice for your goals, then your goals become the sacrifice, right? And think of it, it's pretty straightforward and it makes sense, right? If you don't sacrifice for your goals become the sacrifice, right? MJ DeMarco from the Millionaire Fastlane, right? He says I'm rereading the book, but he said, "Are you willing to work at a restaurant while your friends have cushy 9 to 5 jobs?" Right? Are you willing to sacrifice getting laid for a few years? Are you willing to stop drinking alcohol? Are you willing to stop smoking weed or partying? Are you willing to do that? If you want six-pack abs with a sharp jawline, right? Will alcohol help or hurt you from achieving that goal? Just think about it, right? Are you willing to change environments? So endure maybe some temporary loneliness because you don't know anyone, right? And that means like who you're around, like the type of people you hang out with, and also the city that you live in. So for me, I left New York in July and I'm here in Chicago, right? And I don't know anyone here. I don't have friends or family here. I just came here all on my own, right? No one told me to move here. I decided to move here, right? Are you willing to do that? It doesn't have to be Chicago, but it could be whatever you want to do, however you need to change your environment. Are you willing to go through the initial discomfort and pain of doing it? And that's the thing. I've said it here. Reinvention comes with a cost, right? So I wanted to bring up this example. So UFC fighter, Khalil Rountree. If you watch UFC or you're familiar with it, you might know who he is. But he's a freaking badass fighter. I think he won a fight like fairly recently. But he I found this out like earlier this week. He was actually obese. He was like 300 pounds and obese when he was in high school. And I was in shock because I'm like, this guy is jacked and shredded, six-pack abs, and kills people in the ring. And I'm like, there's no way in the octagon. I'm like, there's no freaking way. Yes, way. He was 300 pounds and obese and used to get bullied in high school, right? So you're telling me that he could do that in high school? He could do that in high school and become a freaking UFC fighter. If you saw this guy, I saw a picture of him. If you saw him when he was in high school, right, and you just met this guy, you probably would have. The last thing you would think is that he would be a UFC fighter, a professional UFC MMA fighter, right? You wouldn't ever think that. You really wouldn't, right? Do you think the guys who bullied him are thinking they could bully him now? I'll let you decide. And that's the thing. You have to create your own identity, right? You really do. Because if you don't create your own identities, others will create it for you. And it's going to be in a way that you don't like it. It's going to be unfavorable to you. It's going to be an identity that you hate. So in the 48 Laws of Power, I always reference this book because I've studied it like the Bible, basically. Law 25 of the 48 Laws of Power: recreate yourself, right? So I have a quote right here from this law. It says, do not accept the roles that society foist on you. Recreate yourself by forging a new identity, right? That's the thing. You need direction. You need a path to follow to go towards that identity. And that's the thing. So the past version of me, right? I used to tolerate disrespect. I used to eat shit food. I used to eat whatever. I used to eat like pizza, like fries, burgers. Like I used to eat like greasy, like junk food all the time, right? I used to get drunk to an oblivion. I used to chase women. I used to just spend all my weekends chasing women. I used to be thirsty over women on Instagram. Oh, man, she's hot. Ooh, that girl at the gym is so hot. Oh my god. I used to just seek female validation instead of working on me, right? I also used to hate reading. I despised reading. And as I mentioned before, I'm a huge component. I love reading now. But I used to hate it. Right? And the thing is, you can update your software. You can force others to adjust, right? You can force others either to adjust to the new you, to the reinvented version of you, or you could make them kick rocks. And either way you win. So I don't see a problem with it, with doing this. And the thing is, it's a process. It's a process to reinvent yourself, but if you start doing it for like a few months, a year, you start doing like the favorable habits that are contributing to who you like, your goals or who you want to become, you'll be a different person in a year. And people likely won't recognize you. They'll be like, this guy is not the same. You changed. And that's a good thing. When people tell you that, that's actually a good sign. That's a sign that you're not the same person anymore. Because you don't want to be the same person anymore. You want to change. People are going to say this, you want to change, right? Because in order for you to get like those goals that you want, you have to become a completely different version of yourself. You have to be a better version of yourself, right? You might have to let your old self die. Like, I know I don't mean to sound so morbid, but it's true. You're going to have to let your old self die and become a better version of yourself. And that's going to take time. And basically everything I just told you, if you have to rewatch this video, then do so. But everything I just told you, you're going to have to go through all of those, right? And I'm going to leave it at there. I hope you guys found value in the video. If you did, subscribe. I'm going to keep posting more content. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.